So, my dear Scorpio, this is your day. You have the sun and the new moon both in your sign. You have arrived deep within. You have let go. You have realized that the magic lies in giving birth to new energies so that you can rule again and again in a new dimension, in a new body, right? And so here we have, of course, the Hermann Tarot, which is one of the most mystical and also deepest tarot decks that I have found. And you are ruled by Pluto. Pluto is connected with the mystic, with the shadow side, because in the dark we find the mystical understanding of life. And so you are ruled by Pluto, and we recognize here that you are learning to bring new energy, right? You are the one that now helps us to see that death is not something that we have to fear, but that we should celebrate it. And we then again have a new body when we come back, and we can again learn through this new body again the next lessons that come with it. For you, I gave you Scorpio pose. Here you are recognizing that, bringing your feet above your head is sometimes the best you can do to really truly let go and then rise like the phoenix is rising here and take on that new life. So this is right now the number 13, the one and only, the magician, the 3, the empress, together the emperor. When you learn to understand the combination of these 3 numbers, right, the 1, the 3, and the 4, if we calculated it all together, we get an 8. And understand that the 8 is then again that infinite cycle that we're learning to master through the physical. So here, this is just you, right? Sun and moon. Sun is that personality, is that how do I show myself to the world? And the moon are your feelings and your subconscious. And so we have right now, right, the sun and the moon and the earth here. Usually we have the sun, the earth, and the moon here in the full moon. So right now the moon is here, right, between sun and earth. And so it's clear when we look at the sun, we see the moon and the sun, and that's why the moon is invisible. So that just to today, you have no influence to another sign. You have literally just you to rely on in the light and in the dark. Your court card here in Hermann Handel is Odin, and Odin was hanging on the tree of life. And when we hang on the tree of life, right, certain visions can come to us because we are hanging upside down. And in a way, this is a little bit like the hanged man here, right? And he's pointing with his finger to the rune alphabet that he has found. And that is, of course, the 9 months it takes for a child to be born and to receive these letters, which then also began the alphabet, began the language, right? The rune. Rune means round. It's like that whisper, is when we whisper a word to someone else. People were thinking, what are they doing, right? They are creating some kind of magic. And Odin was a little bit that kind of personality, that was a sorcerer, that was someone that people feared a little bit because he was really empowered through the information that you received by hanging upside down, right, for 9 days on a tree. So you see we're going to the left, right? I could also place, of course, this card here, but here it doesn't really make any difference. Though here the bird is looking at the situation, but the bird is literally like with the eye, the all-seeing eye, that consciousness that knows everything and is liberated, because the birds are the evolution of the reptiles or the dinosaurs, right? And so we see now when we go to the left, the path goes deep, deep down into the new moon, into that here I have arrived with myself and learning that I can plant a seed and actually create the new growth cycle back out to the full moon. So if your birthday is between October 13 and November 12, then this is your court card. If not, you can look down below in my description. I have listed all the cards, on which position they come up, all the dates, right? Everything is listed there. Also, why am I using double and triple numbers as portals, so you understand how I'm working here. Back to the last reading where you had Libra Sun giving the Scorpio Moon the light. The message was, your new moon mem join together to make a better world and thrive together. So as you can see now, I'm adding the arrow, and you had yourself on the position of the Fool, and it was clear that something was very strong telling you to get together, to bring the people together, to bring the groupthink, right, as that final destination into the world. And we will see now, of course, that this new moon mem already came to you last time, and now we're going to see what the new moon is really wanting to tell you today. On the position of the Aeon, right, this is the calling. This is also the last judgment, the rebirth. The visuals here are stunning, right? It's like it's very mystical, very a little dark, and that's why, right, because Pluto is dark, is the shadow side, is the mystical, and Pluto is actually going next year 2024 into the sign Aquarius. Right now it's between Capricorn and Aquarius. And so here we also see what is gonna shift, particularly for you, because Pluto is ruling you, is the planet that is leading you to become the judge, to become someone that sees the deeper side of things. And of course you are the 8th house of reincarnation, the 8 zodiac signs, so the infinite 8 is here and teaching you also to recognize how deep you actually are pushed to live your life if you are a Scorpio. So let's see. We have on the Aeon the 20, because Pluto is going to be for 20 years in the sign of Aquarius next year. We have the Lifruma Healing Oracle, and the Lifruma Healing Oracle is connected with the rune alphabet, right? We have 78 cards like the tarot, and we get here the symbols of the rune letters. Man, myself, humankind. Wow, 20. you get a 2020 portal, a 2-2. The 22 is in the major arcana, the Fool, right? Because we have 22 major arcanas, not 21, where the world is letting you know, well, now you have arrived here in this dimension. No, 22, because the 0 is also the 22. So you have a 22 portal right away, letting you know, well, something very important is talking here to you. And we're going to look into this card, the message of man, or myself and humankind. To be one with yourself, to be one with the space around you as well, to be one all and everything, to be the symbol of a symbiotic shared expression of self and others, to be a part of a greater whole, solo yet integral to the shared tribal soul, to be your own starling in the global murmuration, cloaking and floating with feathered inspiration. The bird. Murmurations, flying, right, and ascending and shifting and recognizing that to be one with the space around you, but also to be the one with yourself and to be one with all and everything. And that's what it is, the 0, right? The 2020. It's almost like here you have already the message for the whole reading. It's like the message is that you are important, that you are now giving birth to a new you, to this beautiful portal, right? It's the M. It's, of course, myself, humankind, and the man itself. Wow. So, as I said, the 22 is also connected with the Fool. And of course, we're going to begin with the Fool and realize what is that foolish idea that is coming to you that you already got in the Libra Sun, right? Join together to make a better world and thrive together. So on the position of the Fool comes the 7 of Swords, which is intense. The 7 is the crown chakra. The 7 is connected with the constellation Moon in Aquarius. And so you almost see that when Pluto is going to be in Aquarius, a lot of intensity is maybe coming to us, or particularly to you, because you can see there are 6 swords, 3 on this side, 3 on this, and 1 sword that is breaking the pattern. And it seems to me that here is this mirror effect. There is almost like a portal. There is something happening here with the mirroring of the 3 to the 3, right? And that's the 6, that's the hexagram, and the 7 is separate. It's literally saying that's your crown, but that crown can be taken away from you. And the Fool is that foolish moment, that idea that, wow, I am wanting to understand how my brain is functioning. I'm wanting to understand how it would be to be a leader, a spiritual leader, because here with the Moon in Aquarius, right, you are doubting that you could be a spiritual leader, and all you need to do is really connect with this 1 sword. That's it. Don't think about the 6, the 6th sense, right, the 3rd eye, 3, right, and the 7 that's cutting through. So you getting instantly a very strong message here, because the Fool is connected with Uranus, and Uranus is ruling Aquarius, right? And Aquarius bringing that excessive thinking, which can also, if it's channeled the right way, be that higher consciousness that is like coming to you, and you realize, oh, that's what it is. Now, Libra, right? The court card is the number 7. It's the 7th house of relationship. So maybe you even had a quarrel. Maybe you even had a moment where things went a little off, right? But now you are called to begin to look at this in a whole new way. Then on the position of the Magician comes the Sorcerer. And you are a sorcerer. You are the one that is pointing to the rune alphabet. You are the 8th house of reincarnation. Here we have the 48. The 8 is here. And you are looking right into the soul. You are now recognizing that this is also in your mind. These are state of consciousness. This is the foolish idea of wanting to fight, right, for a spiritual for a spiritual mission. That doesn't work. We cannot fight for a spiritual mission. Here you have now the sorcerer that is saying, okay, so then what I'm going to do is here the 8 and the 4. When we calculate that together, because the 4 is the Aries energy, the Emperor, right? Together we get the 12, the Hanged Man. Here you are hanging upside down, right? And when you hang upside down, you are seeing everything from a new perspective. And so the 12 is left. But if I add the 1 of the Magician, you have the 13. And the 13 is you. And the 13 then again creates a 4. The 4 that says, well, when you really want to rule, then rule from the right place, but not from this place. And so I wanted to see what is happening here, right? Because I have the Mother Peace Tarot now. It's my newest deck, but it's quite old. And I wanted to see why, you know, in this oracle card, you getting the Sorcerer. And I got here the daughter of discs, and the daughters are the princesses or the pages, and are all 3 earth signs, which is Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And so you see the card is facing the right, and when it faces the right, I'm just gonna read to you that the daughter is actually standing in front of, I'm just going to put it up right. The daughter stands in a place of power by the Sipapuni, the Hopi word for a birth hole. She rests her medicine pipe in the sacred circle. Behind her is her house in a cave. The sun has set and the full moon rises and reflects in her obsidian mirror. Now turn to the right. She's eager to explore new territory in her body or outside herself. So, you are understanding here that the sorcerer, with here the 3 earth signs, which is then of course the material world, it's almost like he wants to control the material world, the pentagram, right? And so the 13 plus the 3 zodiac signs is, of course, then the 16, which is the tower. So certain things maybe need to go. But also, when we calculate here the 13, which is a 4, and the 3, we get the 7, right? So the 7 is here a 7-7 portal that is making you realize, do not fall prey into this kind of thinking, that you have control over things. No, you don't. You are learning. You are more and more understanding how complex and how intricate this world is, and that the material world is a playground that we're learning all the time. And remember, right here, Mercury is ruling the magician, and that means we have the understanding of the mind. The swords is the mind, is the language that we then use. And you have found the language, right? The rune alphabet. Then on the position of the High Priestess comes the Ace of Swords. Now, you can see that he is looking at this sword, and it's clear because we know that here we have 7 swords, and the only sword that is important is the one that is directing its energy upwards to the sky, to the heavens. And so is this sword facing up, and it's clear that it's saying face this challenge by connecting only with the highest, right? Don't allow yourself to be distracted. Allow yourself to see that here this one sword is all you need to focus on, because the 7-7 portal now with this one sword, and of course the Empress that is bringing you here the moon, and the feelings and the subconscious creates with the 2 and the 1 a 3, which is giving birth to a new thinking, to a new idea, which is intuitive. You know what is the right way to think, and that is to think positive, right? If you think negative, of course, then you want to use this empowerment that is in all of us in a negative way, because you like to maybe control the people. But it's not gonna work. It never will. And you're gonna learn your lessons. So he's looking here at the Ace of Swords, and he's like, okay, let me use the magic 1 that you get when you calculate the 4 and the 8 together, which is the 12. Right there you get the Magician, and the Magician holds the power over the Ace of Swords. On the position of the Empress comes Capricorn, the Devil, the 15, which is then of course the 1 and the 5. We know that when we overcome the 5 senses, right, until the 5th chakra, we learn that then one more, the one and only, is here in the 3rd eye, is where the star is here on his 3rd eye, and then the hair or the horns are helping you to be empowered. And the 3 and the 15 is then of course an 18, which is the moon. So look deep within in this new moon, because you have sun and new moon both in your sign. So allow to arrive, because you give yourself the light, right, and the darkness. And so you're learning here, because the 15 is also the 6, and the 6th sense is always here on the 3rd eye. The 6 and the 3 is the 9, right, and the 9 is the completion in recognizing that you're learning, that you are growing, because the Empress is ruled by Venus. Venus is beauty and love, but also the money. And here we have the social status that we get attached to, and certain negativities are simply always around someone that can climb really high, like the goat, like Capricorn can climb the highest, right? It's one of the most incredible climber. I mean, he can go a wall up that is like literally like this and flat, right? He finds a way to climb up. So here you have Capricorn. Recognize, to understand that you are learning, to overcome certain attachments. It's almost like the Ace of Swords is blocking the sorcerer's perspective to the devilish side that comes by looking deep into the darkness, because we can think that we can actually control the dark forces within us, but the dark forces control us. So are the light forces. They control us. We cannot control it, right? They are so powerful that we in the end rather want to be with the light, because then a beautiful life unfolds itself instead of something very negative. Then on the position of the moon, which is of course now in your sign, comes Bridget of Ireland. And Bridget is connected with the pages or the daughters or the princess, and connected with all the three water signs, right? This is Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So here you're getting a deeper look into the love that surrounds you, right? She is a holy person in Ireland. She is the one that brought a lot of love to the people. And so here also is you, right? Because it's Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces connected with the young generation. And so the 18, the moon, which you had also here, the 18, right? And then it became the 9. The 18 is the 9, and the 9 and the 3 is again the 12, the hanged man. Recognize that for a reason you are hanging here, right? On the tree of life. So you get that hanged man perspective, because to hang upside down in real yoga world is to see another perspective of what's happening around you. And so then the 12 becomes a 3, and the 3 again is left as that new dimension, the new one, the creating something really important. And the 3 zodiac signs here are important for you, right? So maybe you have a Cancer, maybe you have also a Pisces, or you have also a Scorpio here helping you to look deep within into your feelings and into your subconscious, and to recognize that you are now seeing who you really are and healing that. On the position of the Father of Cups, Odin is pointing down to the rune alphabet. We get Osiris, and Osiris is the son of Swords, which is Gemini. And Gemini is the 3rd zodiac sign of communication. So you found the rune alphabet, and now you can create a communication between the people. And you see how Osiris is facing here Brigitte, and it's almost like you learning to communicate with the young generation, which is always important, because that's the next generation that we can teach the language and how to communicate and how to talk. So here you are, the 8th zodiac sign and the 3rd zodiac sign, Gemini, which creates an 11, a portal here that is giving you the understanding that the 11 is half of here the 22, and that the message is that humankind needs you, needs your brilliance, needs the understanding of Odin, which can also be, of course, a sorcerer, right? Odin, though, in the end, realized, because he's connected with the cups, that maybe it's not such a good idea, right, to control people, because in the end, then they control you. You're never free. You think you're free because you're controlling them, but meanwhile, you're controlling them so much you don't even have time to just enjoy yourself and just to be. And that's what a lot of people are missing sometimes, right? People who need to control even a nation, right? A tyrant. They're like in their own prison as well, even though they have all the riches, but they're in a prison. So have a look at this portal, right? The 11 is literally saying, well, have a look at how Osiris was a healer in its own right, right? Because his whole story is pretty amazing. And then on the position of the sun, which is in your sign as well, right? So you have today both of these in your sign. You get the Hermit, the number 9. So here we have the 19, which becomes a 10, and then again a 9, which becomes a 19, and a 10 is left. The 10 is a new one. So you actually have then a 1-1, 1 portal, the 11, and here again the 10, 3 times the 1, is feel the empowerment in knowing that that one sword is cutting through the 6 swords, that one sword is pointing up to the real crown, to actually also to the 3rd eye, and of course then the 7th chakra. And you are recognizing that the Hermit or a Virgo here is giving you empowerment, because we had here the daughters. Remember, these are of course Taurus, Virgo and Capricorn. So now you have here Virgo, and you have also a Capricorn that are helping you to see things from more of a material perspective, because it's the earth and it's the money. And so still he is the one that is enjoying himself, because the sun is your personality, right? You want to arrive deep within you in the 9, because the 9 is the completion. The 9 is I have arrived, and after that I get the 10 again, because the 10 is that new perspective from the 1 to the 10. On the position of now the moon again as an oracle, you see here the overflow, the overwhelm and the plenty coming to you. It's the 43, which is the Emperor and the Empress. Together they create the next generation, the overflow, the 7, right? The empowerment of the 7 of the crown chakra, and also of course of the 7 that you get in here with the magician, right? The 7 is left here. Recognize that you are now learning to be with the 9 from the 18, and the 7 you get the 16, and the 16 of course is always the Tower, and the Tower is Mars, is that action that we let go so that we can overflow. And then of course the 7 is left, the crown chakra, right? So here you are realizing that the 7 is important, and it shows you that you have 3 times the 7 now, and 3 times is again the empowerment that is coming to you by learning and by understanding that everything has its moment, everything has a clear perspective that is letting you know why are certain things happening the way they're happening. Now this is a oracle deck, and I wanted to know what the tarot is saying, and you got the 2 of Wands facing the right, and the 2 of Wands is connected with Mars in Aries, and Mars again, the 16, right, is that breaking things apart so that something new can come into this life. And here we see how she is learning or asking her ancestors, show me how to make a fire. And that action to actually really be connected with the completion of the Hermit, with the Virgo, is like, yes, you are realizing that here comes to the 7 another 2 and the 9 is left, and that means that you have a 9-9 portal, and that 9-9 portal is giving you the understanding there is creativity in completion. It's not that you're stuck in it and now everything is complete. It continues, right? There is creativity then again in finding a new completion, and in that finding new completion is also checking in with the ancestors that are giving you the message. This is how we did it. And so she gets the information in that completion, how to overflow and how to create an overflow. Then on the position of the sun, we get here the magic, the number 43. Now you have a 43-43 portal or 7-7 portal, right? The magic is when we unite the masculine and the feminine. The magic is when we unite the masculine and the feminine, the overflow is guaranteed. And so the 19, which is the 10, and the 10 and the 7 is the 17, and the 17 is the star, is Aquarius, right? Is knowing that Aquarius, here of course moon in Aquarius, right? But when Pluto is in Aquarius, we're gonna see a lot of these kind of intense fightings in our mind with ourselves first and foremost, right? And of course when Pluto is then in Aquarius, we are gonna see a lot of difficult situations. And so you see here the 17 is leading you to hope, never to give up, to understand that the star is giving you the light. And so here I wanted to see where you're learning to put in the magic. And the 4 of Swords reverse came up. And the 4 of Swords, right, with now, of course, 7 swords is 11 swords, right? And with this 1 sword, you have 12 swords. And 12 is the Hangman. And the card came upside down. And the upside is always have a new perspective, the same way Odin was hanging upside down and getting a new perspective, and he got right the rune alphabet, and then comes Gemini, who is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the language, is the mind, is that communication. Mercury is going to help you to brute, Gemini is going to help you to put that out there into the world, right? And so here we see that the 4 of Swords that are facing down, which is connected with Jupiter in Libra, right? But because it's upside down, it's like, okay, what's happening here? It's almost like you want to meditate, you want to use the magic, but something is off, right? It's almost like you are not focused. You're actually focusing on something that you can use instead of uplifting, instead of bringing you up, right? And so recognize that. Learn to not use your spirituality in a negative way, because that's why the 7 is giving you that 1 sword that's pointing up. That's the important sword. The other swords that's coming down is the information that you're getting, but now use it to your advantage in a good way, right? Because you can see also here the sword is pointing up, so it's up, but here you go down, right? And so you have to look deeper, because the 10 and the 7 is the 17, which is then of course with the 4 the 21. The 21 is the world. The world is ruled by Saturn. Rules and borders and elections are coming to you, right, with the 21. But the 21 is then also a 3. The 3, always we recognize this, the Empress, is the learning. When we unite masculine and feminine, we can control it, right? And so, yes, you also realize that the 7 and the 4 is an 11 here as well, right? Learn to see this and turn it around. Because then on the position of the world, the universe, or Saturn, right, which is the borders and the lessons that we learn here in this dimension, comes the 4 of Pentacles. And the 4 of Pentacles is that stability, is the 4 that is also the Emperor here, also in the Sorcerer, right, that is saying, well, I see that I can control things. I see, right, that I can also use it to my advantage, like the Capricorn, like I can climb up the social status. But here the 4 of Pentacles is connected with the Sun in Capricorn, and we're gonna have, not in the next month, but the second reading, the Sun in Capricorn. So there is something talking to you with the 4 and the 21 that becomes a 3, that there is a 7, 5 times the 7. Learn to understand that communicating about the things that are important to you is now on the rise, that you are ruled through the 22nd major arcana, right, which is the Fool, and on the Fool came the 7. And so if I put the 7 here, right, I'm gonna put this down, but this is a 7 as well, right, then you see that there is again a 7-7 portal. And you understand all of a sudden that everybody is influenced by this. If you feel it, everybody else is feeling it, right? And so you can help others. By healing yourself, you help others to heal themselves as well. And so learn to see that the fire, this snake or this dragon is pushing out. The universe is literally saying, well, then we need to learn to respect money on a whole new level, because that's what money does to us, right? Because money is sometimes called evil, right? That's what people say. That's an evil side to it. But you have that clear thought, because now we have 8, and that's the infinite struggle with money that is here. And also that's why he is wanting to control here the power of money, because he has the 4 in here as well. And so you are realizing that a 7-7 portal is closing here, right? And we have 5 times the 7. It's like you're learning that your mission is to understand the Fool. The Fool that is bringing you here the 7 of Swords. Why are people fighting? Why is there such a negativity right now in the world? And you are called to be with this kind of thinking, and of course to counterbalance it, to bring love to the people like Brigitte did, right? To bring also good things to the people like Osiris, and of course to do good out of the perspective of Virgo, of healing, of uniting. And that's what the 43 2 times is saying, right? The 43 is like 7-7. Here we have 4 times the 7. And you see all of a sudden that you understand, hey, it's all about recognizing on a higher spiritual level, right? We don't have to cling or hold on to the material anymore. We're just beyond it. And you understand that here the sun and the moon are bringing you now the solution. There is an overflow, right? There is enough. There is plenty for everybody. There is magic in your 2 hands, in the masculine, in the feminine. When we unite it into Namaste, that's the one and only. That's the one and only. And so learn that and bring that into the world. Wow. So I hope I see you in the next reading, right? We will have the sun in Sagittarius. And of course, Sagittarius is taking action, an action that can also be connected with here the Two of Wands, right? It's a fire sign. And there you are recognizing, okay, I am wanting to be the magic, right? Also see that here you get the message of the 22, that the world is speaking to you again and again in bringing the humanness, the mankind to you, the union of the masculine and the feminine, right? And that the duality is always that point of perspective that we learn. Duality is we have a choice, right? And that's when we learn the most. So I wish you a beautiful new moon celebration, because you can plant a seed which grows into the full moon in 6 months. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.